Have you ever felt like your heart was heavy? It's like the whole world has gone silent, like we're sitting in the middle of a crowd of people, but it feels like no one can see us. Have you ever been in a relationship, a family, or a social setting, but felt worthless in the eyes of anyone? Some are abandoned, some are ignored, some are forgotten. Some are made to feel that we are insignificant. And one question arose in my mind: if no one loves us, what's the point of living? This is the silent pain. It requires no blood, no wounds. But deep in the heart, it cuts deeper than a knife. But today, the Dharma is telling us that no one dies simply because others don't love them. But many people suffer because they forget to love themselves. The Buddha taught profoundly that suffering does not arise from others not loving us, but from our own hearts attaching happiness to being loved. When we entrust our life values to the hearts of others, we will never be free. When they love us, we feel valued. When they change us, we fall apart. When they leave, we feel worthless. When they don't choose us, we feel insignificant. Item 1. Many people don't suffer because they're unloved, but because they entrust their lives to the love of others. Have you ever experienced this? I used to wait for a message from someone. I used to stare at my phone all day. I used to hope they would text me. I hope he calls. I hope he thinks of us. And when nothing happens, my heart began to feel heavy and uneasy. The thought began to question me. Am I important to him? Are we worthy? Why doesn't he love us the same way anymore? This suffering. It's not the suffering from physical abuse, but the suffering from being abandoned emotionally. It's a silent pain. It doesn't show itself, but it slowly erodes the spirit. The Buddha taught that suffering does not come from external things but from inner attachment. Many people do not suffer because they do not love, but we suffer because we expect them to love us in the way we want. We tie our happiness to their actions and our self-worth to their attentiveness. The meaning of life becomes tied to relationships, and then they change. When he's gone, my heart is empty because he didn't choose me. We feel worthless when in reality, the love of others is not the foundation of life, but merely a part of life's experience. Life isn't meant to be chosen, but we are born to awaken to the Dharma, which teaches us to see the truth that everything is impermanent, even feelings are impermanent. Relationships are fleeting, love is fleeting, even the human heart is fickle. If we tie our happiness to things that are impermanent, we will regret it. We will never be stable, like building a house on sand. It will collapse once it's built on it. It falls over when the wind comes, and collapses when it rains. Those who tie their lives to love live in a cycle of waiting for answers, clarity, choices, acceptance, and validation. But those who understand Dharma live independently. They love without begging, they are attached but not possessive, they give but don't destroy themselves. They know that love that makes you lose your sense of self is not true love. True love doesn't devalue us, doesn't make us beg, doesn't make us humble ourselves, doesn't force us to do things against our will. Many people mistakenly believe that if no one loves them, they are failures. If no one chooses them, they are worthless. If no one wants them, they are meaningless. But this is a thought born from ignorance, from a lack of understanding of the truth. Because you cannot kill someone because of anyone's love. No one is defined by their own consciousness and wisdom. A mindful person does not measure their worth by the eyes of others, does not entrust the meaning of their life to anyone, and does not put their heart as collateral in a relationship. They love while remaining true to themselves, they give while respecting themselves, and they endure while not allowing their heart to break. The Buddha taught self-reliance, not reliance on others. He taught us to stand on our own 2 feet, not on hopes from others. Because when our hearts can stand on their own, that's when we can truly rely on ourselves. Even if no one loves us, we won't die. Even if no one chooses us, we won't fall apart. Even if no one is there, we can still live peacefully, securely, with dignity, value, and meaning. This is the deeper meaning of the saying. No one dies because others don't love them, but many people suffer because they forget to love themselves. Secondly, unstable love equals endless suffering. Because my heart is attached to someone else, you will never be free. Have you ever been with someone but never felt at ease? Being in a relationship but constantly being suspicious, afraid, overthinking, and guessing. Will he change? Will he leave? Will he get bored? Will he find someone new? Will he still choose me? This kind of love doesn't warm the heart, it only exhausts it. Because it wasn't love, it was an attachment fueled by fear. The snake is afraid of being abandoned, afraid of being insignificant, afraid of being worthless, and afraid of being alone. That fear arises from attachment. Suffering arises from fear. When we cling to people, we fear losing them. When we cling to love, we fear losing it. When we cling to a relationship, we fear separation. This is the entire cycle of the human mind. Many people call this love, but in Buddhist philosophy, it is lust, the desire to possess, to own, to be number one, to be important, to be chosen. True love does not cause the heart to struggle, compete, fear, or possessiveness, because true love arises from compassion, not fear. But the love of most people, it stems from fear, specifically the fear of loneliness. Fearing worthlessness, emptiness, and loneliness, they turn to relationships for emotional support instead of relying on reason. When the heart has no anchor, it clings to someone like a drowning person grabbing onto anything, even if that thing sinks with them. Unstable love thus becomes an endless source of suffering. Today is good, tomorrow is bad. Today is sweet, tomorrow is quiet. Today is attentive, tomorrow is indifferent. The heart fluctuates, happy or sad, hopeful or shattered, complaining repeatedly until life is devoid of energy. The Buddha taught the truth that all things are impermanent, that they are suffering, and that suffering is not self. Unstable love should not be taken as part of our identity or as the foundation of our lives, yet we mistakenly make it the center of our lives. Because when the center vibrates, life vibrates. When the center breaks, the whole heart breaks. Those who understand Dharma will not make anyone the center of their life. They will not make anyone the main pillar of support. He will be centered on his consciousness. The foundation is in wisdom. It lies in understanding the truth. He will love the person, but he won't replace them with someone who does it. He will be bound by affection, but he won't let that affection consume his true self. Who will he be with without losing himself? Because he knows that people come and go, people change. And people's hearts aren't ours, but we can take care of our own hearts. Many people ask if they wouldn't feel lonely if they didn't commit to a person. The answer is that loneliness stems from an empty heart, not from being alone. A person can feel lonely even when surrounded by others if their heart lacks a place to belong. But a person can find peace alone if their heart is filled with Dharma. The Buddha was among people but did not cling to anyone. He was compassionate to all but did not hold his heart against anyone. Freedom of the mind, and this is what Dharma aims to teach us. True love should not enslave the heart. True attachment should not deprive the heart of its freedom. Because a free heart is not dead even if no one loves it. Even if no one chooses it, it won't fall apart. Even if no one is there, it's not empty. Because the heart finds refuge in the Dharma. Item 3. True emptiness doesn't come from not being loved, but it comes from not having oneself in one's life. Have you ever felt empty even though you have people by your side, people to talk to, people to greet, people in your life? It's like something is missing, even though everything seemed complete. This is the deepest emptiness because it's not the emptiness of the surroundings, but the emptiness of one's self. Many people don't lose others, but they lose themselves in relationships. Gradually change yourself. Gradually force yourself. Gradually diminish your self-worth. Gradually become silent. Gradually accept and endure. Until one day I no longer know who I truly am. I no longer know what my heart truly desires. I don't know which path I really want to take in life anymore. My whole life has become about adapting to others, not about growing for the truth of my own heart. The Buddha taught that the root cause of suffering is ignorance, and the deepest ignorance is not knowing oneself. When we don't know ourselves, we use others as a mirror to reflect our identity. Use the eyes of others as a measure of our worth, and use the love we give to others as a confirmation of the meaning of life. If they love us, we have. If he doesn't love us, we're gone. This is self-dissolving in a relationship. And this is true emptiness. It's not because there's no one around, but it's empty because we're not here. Many people live in the lives of others but never in their own. They wake up for others and think for others. Use your power for others, endure for others. Living for until we forget to ask ourselves what we live for. What do we really want? What meaning do we have in ourselves? Dharma doesn't teach selfishness, but rather compassion for oneself. Self-compassion is not weakness but an understanding of life. The Buddha taught us to recognize that the illusory self is not real. And it teaches us to understand our state of mind. That it's something we must take care of. We weren't born to play a role for anyone, weren't born to be anyone's hope, weren't born to be anyone's life. We were born to awaken, to understand everything, to know the cause of suffering, to see the path to liberation from suffering, to break free from attachment to the world. It teaches us to chase after roles, chase after expectations, chase after images, chase after acceptance, until we forget the true essence of life, the life of someone who has no one. Those who love themselves still have themselves. Still have awareness, still have breath, still have Dharma, still have opportunities, and still have a path. But a person without a sense of self, even if the whole world is around, will feel empty because they have no roots. A heart without roots will drift along with people, relationships, emotions, fears, and expectations, without principles, without a core, without a center. In Buddhist teachings, this is called a helpless mind. The Buddha taught us to create refuge within, not from outside, to create refuge through mindfulness, to establish principles through wisdom, and to build roots through understanding the truth. When the heart has roots, it will never be empty even when alone. It will not break even when abandoned. It will not die even when no one loves it. Because the heart has itself as its home, Dharma as its roots, mindfulness as its light, and wisdom as its path. This is a life that is not empty, and this is the profound meaning of the word. No one dies simply because others don't love them, but many people suffer because they don't have themselves in their lives. Point 4. When the heart doesn't need validation from others, life becomes truly free. Have you ever done good deeds to be seen, endured to be understood, sacrificed to be accepted, remained silent to maintain relationships, or given in to avoid losing someone? Many times, we don't live according to our true feelings, but according to the eyes of others. We measure our worth by people's words, actions, attention, and choices. If they see us as valuable, they see us as insignificant. If they don't, they see us as small. If he chooses us, we matter. If he doesn't choose us, we are invisible. This kind of life is one of waiting for validation. And a life that waits for validation from someone will never be free. The Buddha taught that the most serious form of slavery is not being enslaved to people, but to one's own thoughts. When our minds think that we must be accepted, we must be loved, we must be chosen, we must be valuable in someone's eyes, our minds instantly become indifferent. We become afraid of losing, afraid of failing, afraid of not being enough, afraid of not being good enough, afraid of not being important enough, and we will do anything to maintain that feeling of worth. Many people value themselves but don't desire romantic love. They crave validation, wanting others to tell them they are good, important, valuable, and deserve to be chosen. However, Buddhist teachings say that value doesn't come from what others say but from self-understanding. Those who know their own worth don't need validation, praise, selection, or proof. They know who they are and where they stand. He knows he has self-worth, so he doesn't need to struggle or be strong. There's no need to compete, no need to win, no need to compare. They will live peacefully in the world. The Buddha did not seek acceptance, love, praise, or importance because he knew that all these things are impermanent and not the essence of life. The essence of life is liberation from suffering, knowing the truth, extinguishing problems, and extinguishing attachment. But the world teaches us to create a self to build. We create value and acceptance to the point where we forget the truth that our entire self is merely a construct. Only the mind that is aware of this is the real thing. When our hearts don't need validation, we won't fear rejection, not being chosen, not being loved, or being forgotten, because we can already validate ourselves. Self-validation isn't boasting, but knowing our inner worth. It means knowing that we don't need to be number one in anyone's eyes to be valuable, and we don't need to be important in anyone's eyes to be meaningful. We don't need to be loved to live. We live because we breathe, we are mindful, we have virtue, we have opportunities, we have learning, we grow, we have a path to follow. This is true value. A free person is not someone who is loved a lot, but someone who doesn't need love to validate themselves. They love out of compassion, not because they lack it. He will give because he is full. Not because he is empty. He will stay because he wants to stay, not because he is afraid of loneliness. And this is pure love, free from fear, complaints, attachment, and desire. This is mental freedom, and this is the meaning of Dharma in real life. When the heart does not need validation from anyone, life will not be bound to anyone, and the heart will be truly free. Fifth, loving oneself is the foundation of all happiness. And that is the beginning of an unrighteous life. Have you ever? It's easy to forgive others, but hard to forgive oneself. I'm good at understanding others. But they never understand themselves. They always sympathize with others, but never with themselves. We are kind to the whole world but cruel to our own hearts. Blaming oneself, putting oneself down, demeaning oneself, comparing oneself to oneself, hurting oneself with one's own thoughts. This is a very deep pain because it comes from within our own hearts. The Buddha taught that conquering oneself is more virtuous than conquering the whole world, but conquering oneself doesn't mean suppressing or forcing others. It's not about forcing it. It's not about making it rigid. Conquering oneself means understanding oneself, understanding one's fears, and understanding one's weaknesses. Understand mistakes. Understand imperfections. Understanding humanity. Self-love is not narcissism, but accepting the reality of who you are. We have to admit that we're not very good yet. Admitting that we still make mistakes. Admitting that we are still misguided, admitting that we still suffer, admitting that we still don't know, and admitting that we can still learn, still grow, still develop, still change. This is loving oneself in a spiritual way. It's not about indulging them, but about caring for their hearts. People who don't love themselves will crave love from others, seek value from others, wait for acceptance from others, and entrust their lives to others. But those who love themselves will not hunger for love, will not be empty in heart, and will not fear being alone. He won't be afraid of rejection because his heart is full. Fill yourself with compassion, self-understanding, self-acceptance, and self-forgiveness. The Buddha taught that loving-kindness meditation always begins with oneself. because if our hearts lack self-compassion, we cannot truly compassionately show compassion to others. And if our hearts do not forgive ourselves, we cannot truly love others. We cannot truly forgive others if we do not respect ourselves. We cannot truly respect others if we do not respect ourselves. Self-love is not selfishness, but the foundation of all goodness. When we love ourselves correctly, we won't trade love for suffering. We won't trade attachment for dignity. We won't trade staying together for pain. We won't stay in a place where our hearts are broken. We won't stay in a relationship that undermines us. We won't stay in a love that destroys our sense of self, because we know the value of our own hearts. Many people ask, if you love yourself so much, can you be with anyone? The answer is, those who love themselves are the best at loving others because they have no expectations, no attachment, no possessiveness, no control, and no fear. They love freely, giving without exchange, existing without tying, and caring without owning. This is pure love, and this is the heart of Dharma. Loving yourself doesn't make you lonely, but it means you don't have to depend on love to live. When we love ourselves, even if no one loves us, we won't die. Even if no one chooses us, we won't be broken. Even if no one is there for us, we won't feel empty. Because our hearts are filled with compassion, mindfulness, righteousness, wisdom, understanding, and self-worth. This is the foundation of a stable life. And this is the deeper meaning of the saying. No one dies simply because others don't love them, but people suffer when they don't love themselves. Point number 6, isolation is, but it is the misunderstanding of oneself that is the real enemy. Many people fear being alone, silence, emptiness, and loneliness, but many do not fear death. Afraid of being alone. I believe that we can't survive without someone by our side. We'll break down. Feel empty and worthless. But Buddhist teachings teach the opposite. The Buddha taught us, learn to be comfortable with yourself before you live with someone. Because people can't be alone with themselves. Using others as an escape from emptiness is not a place to find solace. Worldly loneliness is not suffering. It is the lack of self-understanding that causes suffering. People who are alone but remain peaceful, free from suffering, idleness, and brokenness do exist, as do those who are surrounded by people. Impatience, fear, loneliness, and restlessness are all real feelings. This shows that the number of people is not the answer to happiness. The answer lies in the quality of the heart. The Buddha practiced asceticism in solitude. Be with the silence, be with the emptiness. Being alone isn't about escaping the world, but about understanding one's own heart. Silence reveals thoughts. Silence reveals emotions. Emptiness reveals one's true self. Those who flee from silence are fleeing from themselves, afraid to hear their own heartbeat. The sound of fear. The sound of dissatisfaction. Voice of inferiority. The sound of emptiness. The sound of need. The sound of pain. But Dharma teaches us to live with it, not to run away, not to suppress. Not to shut it off, but to observe it with mindfulness. Look with wisdom, look with compassion. When we begin to understand ourselves, loneliness will not be an enemy but will become a healing space. A place of solace. It is a restoration area. It is a learning space, a space for growth. Many people begin to awaken to this awareness during their free time. During moments when they are alone and have no one around. During the time when a relationship is falling apart, or when you've been dumped. Because during that time there were no distractions. No deception, nothing to obscure the sincerity, we encountered the truth. And the truth is, we can live on our own, we can breathe on our own, we can grow on our own, and we can heal on our own. We are valuable in ourselves. Many people don't suffer from loneliness, but from not knowing themselves, not knowing their own hearts, their needs, their wounds, their fears, their emptiness. Because they don't know, they flee. Because they flee, they rely on others. Because they rely, they cling. And because they cling, they suffer. This is the cycle of suffering. Buddhist teachings instruct us to break this cycle with mindfulness. Knowing yourself, knowing your heart, knowing your thoughts, knowing your feelings, knowing the truth. When you know, fear will lessen. When you understand emptiness, you will not be haunted. When you accept loneliness, you will not suffer. It will become a space for healing. The heart will begin to strengthen. Become stable, become calm, gain principles, and find roots. And when the heart has roots, even if no one loves it, it won't die. Even if no one chooses it, it won't break. Even if no one is there, it won't be empty, because the heart understands itself, has compassion for itself, is with itself, can rely on itself, and can be a source of support. This is freedom of the heart. And this is a life without fear. Loneliness is not the enemy of life. Rather, a lack of self-understanding is the enemy of happiness. Point 7. When the heart takes refuge in Dharma, life will no longer be swayed by others. Have you ever experienced your heart fluctuating with the emotions of others? When they're happy, they're quiet. When they change their mind, they're broken. When they care, they're happy. When they distance themselves, your heart feels like it has no foundation, no basis, no place to stand, like being tossed about by the waves of other people's emotions. This is the life of someone who relies on others for emotional support. The Buddha taught that whatever is impermanent should not be relied upon as a refuge. The human heart is fickle. Feelings are fickle, relationships are fickle, love is fickle, promises are fickle. Yet we take these impermanent things as the foundation of our lives. When the foundation is shaken, the whole heart trembles. When the foundation breaks, the whole heart breaks. Therefore, Dharma teaches us to shift our refuge from people to nature, from love to mindfulness, from relationships to wisdom, because we must not abandon mindfulness. Mindfulness doesn't disappear, wisdom doesn't change, truth doesn't deceive. People may change their minds. Their interpretations may change. Love may fade, relationships may end, but one's actions remain unchanged. Those who rely on Dharma will not be swayed by rejection, will not be affected by abandonment, will not be shaken by being alone, by being unavailable, by being single, because their hearts have inner strength. They can be sad, but not broken. They can be hurt, but not shattered. They can grieve. You can cry, but you won't die, because they know that emotions are temporary, feelings are temporary, events are temporary, pain is temporary.